All right. Now we're moving on to our introduction paragraph. I'm going to just go ahead and go over this, and then we're going to see if the items in the checklist are present, where they're present, and then, I'll discuss why this is a 6. I disagree with the concept that students must stand for the Pledge of Allegiance because the prompt states explicitly students should not be allowed to opt out of school-wide rituals like standing for the Pledge of Allegiance without some negative consequences. With that said, requiring that students stand during the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance is culturally insensitive and can cause harm to students in school. That was my position. Moving on to subpoint 1 in purple. I say this because students have different/varying relationships with American culture stemming from their backgrounds and experiences. Subpoint 2. Forcing students to recite the pledge may re-traumatize students from oppressed cultures or silence students' opinions and freedom of speech. Subpoint 3 in green. While reciting the pledge in school can be seen as unifying, students still deserve the choice to opt out of participation without consequence. All right, so as you see, the thesis statement is the stating the position, all right, that we have in blue. And then we have sort of a hook that gets the reader interested and introduces the topic. And then we have our subpoint 2 and subpoint 3. Now, you don't always have to have 3 subpoints, especially if you're trying to adequately cover your topic within your essay during that 30-minute time period, because that's all that you have. But for this one, I included a 3rd subtopic because I believe that adding a counterpoint, like the topic in green, it provides credibility to, the author of this introduction paragraph, because it says here, while reciting the pledge in school can be seen as unifying, students still deserve the choice to opt out of participation without consequence. All right, so this while reciting can be unifying, that's our counterpoint. So I do suggest trying to include something like that within your paper. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the introduction paragraph, but here you can see that the overarching idea, the position, is very clear. It doesn't say like, I wish I could say that I agreed students should stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. That's not clear. This language that I used right here, I disagree. That goes right to your position. It's effective, it's clear, and in their sample responses on the ETS website for this test exactly, they start out with stating their position. Okay, so we see that the blue, the position, saying, I don't think students should have to stand for the pledge because they have different circumstances, backed up with, some of them come from different places where Americans haven't been respectful towards them, and it may, give them trauma because they've been through things. All right, we have that backs up our position in blue. Okay, it's not just some random thought. So moving on to yellow, subpoint 2, you have to think of ways to break up your topic within your thesis statement so that it's organized and logical. And this, further backs up what we already said, but it also can stand alone. It says, forcing students to recite the pledge may re-traumatize students from oppressed cultures or silence students' opinions and freedom of speech. Okay? So in subpoint 1, we're saying all students are different and they have different thoughts and feelings. And because of that, they are individuals and they should have the right to decide something like this. Then in the next one, it says, and especially if they're from cultures, that have been oppressed, they may be traumatized from this. So that's additional. All right. And then over here in green, It is still sticking with everything we've already said, but it is its own thought that students deserve the choice to opt out of participation without the negative consequences that were stated in the opinion explicitly. And something else that was done very well in this introduction paragraph is, talking about what was said in the prompt, okay? So that is something that you need to consider. I would probably quote or paraphrase something from the prompt within your paper, just like I did here. I'll go ahead and highlight it for you, because that means that you are definitely sticking to what they're asking you to do. So now let's go ahead and move on to paragraph 1. That is going to be representing subpoint 1 that backs up our thesis.